Honey, how about some coffee to give you a boost? My wife's smile was as gentle as it had been every day for the past 5 years. Except tonight, I had already taken the antidote. I needed to see what she and that security guard from our community would do in our bed after she drugged me. In my hand was a cup of coffee, an Americano my wife had carefully prepared. Long day at work? Honey, drink some coffee. It'll help. Chloe stood before me, her smile as soft as ever. I looked up at her. She was wearing a pale, pink nightgown tonight, her hair falling softly over her shoulders. She looked just as pure and lovely as the day we were married. But right now, a firestorm of rage was churning inside me. Because just yesterday, I found the sleeping pills she'd hidden in her nightstand drawer. The dosage was strong enough to plunge a grown man into a deep, uncontrollable stupor within 30 minutes. I lifted the cup and took a small sip. This time, I had already taken the antidote. How is it? Does it taste okay? She asked, sitting down beside me. Yeah, perfect, just like always, I said, forcing a gentle smile. She leaned in closer. You've been working so hard lately. You should get some rest tonight. I put my arm around her shoulder, my heart a block of ice. After 5 years of marriage, I never thought the day would come when the woman I loved most would be drugging my coffee. In less than half an hour, I started to act drowsy. Chloe carefully helped me to bed and pulled the covers over me. Rest well, honey. I closed my eyes, my breathing evening out into a steady rhythm. Only after I heard her tiptoe out of the bedroom did I open them again. I threw on a jacket and quietly followed her out. In the darkness, I watched her hurry out of our house. I trailed her from a distance, all the way to the community gazebo. Moonlight spilled across the stone path, outlining her graceful figure. A man was already standing in the gazebo. Ryan Scott, the new head of security for our gated community. He was in his early 30s, tall, well-built, with that kind of sunny, handsome face. He'd only started working here 2 months ago, but I guess it didn't take him long to get his hooks into my wife. Have you been waiting long? Chloe asked, walking quickly into the gazebo. Not long. Maybe 15 minutes, Ryan said, opening his arms to pull her in. I've been dying to see you. I hid behind a tree nearby, watching them kiss. Under the moonlight, my wife was like a cat in heat, pressing her body against his. They kissed with a desperate passion, as if they wanted to devour each other. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug deep into my palms. The sharp pain was the only thing that kept me from rushing out there and tearing them to pieces. Did he drink it? Ryan asked, his lips moving to her neck. MHM, he's already fast asleep. Chloe breathed. Don't worry, with that dose, he'll be out until morning at least. Good, Ryan said, his hands starting to wander over her body. Come on, let's go to my place. I watched them walk away, wrapped in each other's arms, as the rage inside me threatened to burn me alive. 5 years of marriage, unrecognizable in a single moment. The woman I had cherished and put on a pedestal was, at this very moment, on her way to another man's bed. And I had no idea how many times this had already happened. Back home, I poured myself a glass of whiskey. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I stared at the moon outside. It was so bright it made my eyes ache. I put down the glass and opened my laptop. Several video feeds popped up on the screen, footage from the hidden cameras I'd secretly installed a few days ago. My hands trembled as I fast-forwarded through the last few days of recordings. It started a month ago. Whenever I had to work late or go on a business trip, they would meet in my bed. The bed Chloe and I shared every night had been defiled by them. Who knows how many times. I poured another glass of whiskey and downed it in one gulp. The alcohol burned my throat, but it couldn't extinguish the fire in my heart. I opened my phone and pulled up the photos from the private investigator I'd hired. In the pictures, Chloe and Ryan were on dates at the mall, at restaurants, at the movies, acting like a couple. Seeing the blissful smile on her face in those photos, I suddenly understood why she had been so unusually gentle with me lately. Preparing my favorite meals, taking meticulous care of me, even offering to give me massages to help me relax. Now I finally got it. All that tenderness was just compensation for her guilty conscience. Just before dawn, Chloe slipped back into the house. I pretended to be asleep, feeling the bed dip as she climbed in and slid under the covers. She smelled of another man's body wash. She'd clearly showered at his place. Honey, time to get up, she said a little while later, gently shaking me awake. I opened my eyes and looked at her smiling face. There was a time when that smile was the best part of my morning. Now it was just a sick joke. What do you want for breakfast? I'll make it for you, she asked softly. Whatever, I said flatly. She seemed to notice my mood was off. What's wrong? Did you not sleep well? She asked, her voice filled with fake concern. No, just a little tired, I said, forcing a weak smile. After breakfast, I drove to work. The whole way, I replayed the last few years in my head. 5 years ago, it was love at first sight for me and Chloe. She had just started as an admin assistant at my company, and I couldn't resist her innocent charm. We dated, fell in love, and got married. It all felt so natural. After we were married, our relationship was perfect. At least, that's what I thought. I worked my ass off and quickly became a senior executive. I gave her the best of everything. I spoiled her, indulged her, and granted her every wish. And in the end, this is what I got in return. After a morning full of meetings, I saw a text from Chloe. Honey, feel like sushi? I booked a table at your favorite place. I replied, okay. At the restaurant, she was wearing a new dress and had her makeup done perfectly. This was where we had our first date, and she'd even requested the same table we sat at back then. Have you been too busy lately? She asked, pouring me some tea with a worried look. You look exhausted. Yeah, we're trying to close out a project. A lot to do. You have to take care of yourself, she said, placing a piece of salmon sashimi in my bowl. Eat more fish. It's good for you. Watching her play the part of the doting, virtuous wife, I felt a sudden, powerful urge to vomit. Chloe, I said, putting down my chopsticks. Do you love me? She paused for a second, then smiled. Why are you asking that? Of course I do. And do you think I love you? Is that even a question? She said, blinking. Everyone at the company knows Mr. Cole spoils his wife more than anyone. I stared directly into her eyes. Then have you ever done anything to betray my love? Her smile faltered for an instant, but she recovered quickly. Honey, what's gotten into you today? You're saying the strangest things. Nothing, just a random thought, I said, picking my chopsticks back up. You're right. I'm probably just tired. After dinner, she took my arm as we walked down the street. An early summer breeze blew through her long hair, carrying a faint, sweet scent. Want to see a movie? She suggested. I heard there's a good romance out right now. I shook my head. I've got stuff to do at the office. Maybe next time. Okay, she said, a little disappointed, but she quickly perked up. Well, how about I make those short ribs you love for dinner tonight? Whatever you want. When we parted, she gave me a light kiss on the cheek. I really do love you, honey. Watching her walk away, I pulled out my phone and called the private investigator. What have you found? Mr. Cole, we've got the full story, came a reply. Your wife met the security guard 2 months ago. She was taking a walk alone in the community one night and was nearly harassed by a drunk. The guard stepped in and helped her. They started seeing each other after that. They usually meet at the apartment Ryan Scott is renting. Do you have the address? Yes. It's at the Lakeshore Vista Apartments on the west side. Building 1, Unit 502. Got it, I said, hanging up and opening my GPS app. Half an hour later, I was standing outside the building. I looked up. The windows of 502 were dark. I took a deep breath and walked into the lobby. In the elevator, my phone buzzed. A text from Chloe. Honey, I'm at the grocery store. What kind of fruit do you want? The grocery store, right? When I got to the 5th floor, I crept to the door of 502. I could hear muffled, intimate sounds from inside, and my heart sank with each one. I took out the key I'd had made and silently unlocked the door. In the bedroom, Chloe was wearing the new dress she'd bought, straddling Ryan Scott. They were so lost in their passion that they didn't even notice me. Babe, what's with all the questions from your husband today? Ryan asked between breaths. Who knows? He's been acting weird lately, Chloe moaned. But it's fine. I'll handle him for you. Just wait a little longer. As soon as I finish moving his money, we can be together for good. Are you serious? Of course I am, she said, leaning down to kiss him. I'm so sick of him. All he ever does is work. If it wasn't for his money, I would have. Her words were cut short as I lunged forward and threw her off him onto the floor. Ryan jumped, scrambling for the clothes at the head of the bed. I punched him square in the face. Blood exploded from his nose. Mr. Cole, he stammered, covering his face, looking at me in terror. Ethan, Chloe screamed, scrambling to her feet to try and pull me back. I shoved her away and landed another punch on Ryan's face. He fell back onto the bed, groaning in pain. Stop hitting him, Chloe yelled, grabbing me from behind, her voice choked with sobs. Ethan, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Please stop. I spun around to face her. Her makeup was a mess, tears and eyeliner creating black streaks down her cheeks. Get dressed, I said coldly. She trembled as she started putting her clothes on, crying the whole time. Honey, I'm so sorry. You can hit me, you can yell at me. Just please, forgive me this one time. Shut up, I snarled. She flinched and fell silent. Once she was dressed, I turned to Ryan. You too. Ryan couldn't meet my eyes as he clumsily pulled on his clothes. His face was already swelling up, and blood was still trickling from the corner of his mouth. On your knees, I said. What? I said, get on your knees. Ryan glanced at Chloe, then slowly knelt on the floor. Honey, Chloe started to say. You too. She bit her lip, then finally sank to her knees. I took out my phone and snapped a few pictures of them. Mr. Cole, please. Ryan finally spoke. I know I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Shut up, I said, putting my phone away. I'll make sure you both remember this for the rest of your lives. With that, I turned and walked out of the room. Chloe's desperate cries followed me. Honey, please forgive me. I know I was wrong. I didn't look back. I just slammed the door shut. In the elevator, I leaned against the wall, a wave of dizziness washing over me. My stomach churned, and as soon as I got out of the elevator, I stumbled into the stairwell and threw up everything. Wiping my mouth, I looked at the pictures I had just taken. In the photo, the woman I loved and her lover were kneeling on the floor, their faces masks of terror and regret. But what good was regret now? The damage was done. It could never be undone. 03 back at home. I locked myself in the study. It wasn't long before I heard the front door open. Frantic footsteps, then Chloe knocking on the study door. Honey, can you please open the door? Let me explain. I ignored her. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I swear it will never happen again. Please, just give me one more chance. She was sobbing hysterically outside the door, but I felt nothing. After a long time, her crying subsided into quiet whimpers. Honey, do you remember? The first time we met, 5 years ago, you said I was the most beautiful girl you'd ever seen. She said softly. And do you remember our wedding? You said you'd love me for the rest of our lives. I closed my eyes, fighting back the tears. We even talked about having a baby, about giving him the best of everything. She continued, her voice breaking. Honey, can you just give me one chance? I promise I'll be a good wife from now on. I couldn't take it anymore. I wrenched the door open. She was kneeling on the floor, her tear-streaked face a mess of ruined makeup. You really think I'll ever believe you again? I said coldly. I swear, she cried, grabbing my pant leg. I swear I will never betray you again. It's over between me and Ryan. I promise. Is it? I crouched down to look her in the eye. There were those things you said in his bed, just my imagination. Her body went rigid. You said you were going to transfer my money out so you could run off together? You said you were sick of me and all I do is work. No. She shook her head frantically. I wasn't thinking straight. I didn't mean it. You know what I hate most? I interrupted. I hate being played for a fool. Chloe, I could almost forgive you for cheating on me, but trying to steal my money. No. Honey, I know I was wrong. She lunged forward to hug me. I swear it'll never happen again. Please forgive me. I shoved her away and stood up. Pack your things and get out. I'll have my lawyer here tomorrow to handle the divorce. No, she screamed, wrapping her arms around my legs. I don't want a divorce. Please, give me one more chance. I can't live without you. I let her cling to me and weep, feeling nothing but disgust. The woman who once made my heart race now just made my stomach turn. I thought you said you were sick of me. I sneered. I'm just giving you what you want. I didn't mean it. I really didn't. She sobbed. I liked Ryan because he was always there for me. And you were always at work. You never had time for me. So this is my fault. My voice grew even colder. Because I worked hard to provide for us. You had the right to cheat on me. No, that's not what I meant, she stammered, incoherent. I was confused. Enough, I said, bending down to pry her hands off me. Pack your bags and go. No, she lunged for my legs again. Honey, hit me, yell at me, do whatever you want. Just please don't make me leave. Looking at her pathetic display, I felt a wave of nausea. 5 years of love gone. You know what I hate more than anything? I said, looking down at her. I hate it when someone drugs my coffee. Her body froze instantly. Did you think I didn't know? I laughed without humor. Every time you drug me, so you can go have fun with your lover. How many times, Chloe? How many times have you done it? She collapsed onto the floor, her face as white as a sheet. You said you were just confused? I went on. Then why the sleeping pills? Why lie and tell me you love me? Why bring another man into our bed? She covered her face and sobbed uncontrollably. You have 1 hour to pack, I said. If you're not gone by then, I'm calling the police. Please, she whispered. Get out, I roared. She flinched violently, then finally got to her feet and staggered toward the bedroom. I watched her pack. Her movements were slow, as if she was trying to stall for time. She would pick up an item of clothing, stare at it for a long moment, and then place it in her suitcase with a sob. Hurry up, I said coldly. She started moving faster. Finally, she had one large suitcase packed. This jewelry, she said, pointing to the jewelry box on her dresser. Take it all, I said. I don't want it. She bit her lip and placed the box in her suitcase. She dragged the suitcase to the front door, looking back at me with every step. Honey, are you sure you can't give me one more chance? She asked at the door, her eyes swimming with tears. I opened the door for her. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow. Sign the divorce papers. No. She started to lunge at me again. I slammed the door in her face, locking her out. I could hear her screaming from the other side. Honey, please open the door. Let me in. I know I was wrong. I leaned against the door, listening to her cry. There was a time when that sound would have broken my heart. Now it was just noise. After a long time, the crying faded as she moved away. I went to the window and watched her drag her suitcase out of the community gates. The early summer wind blew through her long hair. The sight of her back, which once filled me with love, now only filled me with contempt. I called security. From now on, Chloe Miller is not allowed on the property. Yes, Mr. Cole. After hanging up, I glanced at my phone. A dozen missed calls, all from her, and a flood of texts. Honey, please answer your phone. Please let me come home. I'm so sorry. I blocked her number, then sent a text to my lawyer. Come to my house tomorrow. Prepare the divorce papers. He replied quickly. Of course, Mr. Cole. I'll get them ready immediately. I went into the bathroom and turned on the shower. The hot water cascaded over my body, but it couldn't wash away the filth I felt inside. The images kept flashing in my mind. Her and Ryan tangled in our bed, her fake smiles, her kneeling on the floor, begging for forgiveness. I scrubbed my skin until it was red and raw, but the feeling of disgust wouldn't go away. After drying off, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was only 35, but I looked like I had aged 10 years overnight. My phone rang again. An unknown number. I answered. It was Chloe's voice. Honey. I hung up immediately and blocked that number too. I will never forgive your betrayal. The next morning, Chloe was waiting at the entrance to my office building. She looked terrible, her eyes swollen and red. She rushed toward me as I got out of my car. Honey. I walked around her and headed straight for the main doors. Please, just listen to me, she cried, catching up and grabbing my arm. I know I was wrong. Just give me one more chance. Security, I called out coldly. 2 guards immediately ran over. Mr. Cole, get her out of here, I said without looking back. And this person is not allowed in the building ever again. Yes, sir. No, Chloe screamed, struggling against them. Honey, please give me a chance. I'm so sorry. Her cries echoed through the lobby, drawing stares from everyone. I stepped into the elevator without a word, letting the guards drag her out the door. When I got to my office, my assistant, Kevin, came in timidly. Boss, Ms. Miller refuses to leave. She's just crying by the entrance. Call the police, I said. What? Kevin looked shocked. Did you not hear me? I looked up at him. Tell security to call the police and report someone for disturbing the peace. Why, yes, sir. Kevin scurried out. A few minutes later, I heard sirens. Through my window, I watched 2 police officers lead Chloe to a patrol car. She looked back at the building, her face streaked with tears. Boss, should we? Kevin started to say, peeking back in. Get out. After he closed the door, I leaned back in my chair and lit a cigarette. Through the haze of smoke, I opened a file on my computer. It was the bank account information for Chloe that I'd had someone pull. Over the past 2 months, she had secretly transferred over $5 million. No wonder she was so eager to give me massages lately. It was to get my fingerprint to unlock my accounts. So calculating. I call my lawyer. Is everything ready? Yes, Mr. Cole. Should I come over now? Yes. After hanging up, I glanced at my phone. Over 20 missed calls, all from unknown numbers. I knew it was her, tried from different phones. I blocked them all and drove to the law firm. The lawyer had the divorce agreement ready. Mr. Cole, considering her infidelity, we've drafted this with the strictest possible terms for asset division. Aside from her own salary, all other assets will remain with you. That's not necessary, I said. Give her what she's entitled to. What? The lawyer was stunned. But we have grounds to. I said give her half. I interrupted. I want everyone to see that she was the greedy one, not that I was cruel. The lawyer thought for a moment. I understand. I'll revise the agreement now. Half an hour later, the new agreement was in front of me. Aside from the house and my company shares, Chloe would get half of all other assets. I signed it and told the lawyer, go get her signature. Of course, he said, then paused. And what if she refuses to sign? Then you tell her I have evidence of her stealing and illegally transferring marital assets. If she doesn't want to go to jail, she'll cooperate. The lawyer nodded. Understood. Back at the office, I buried myself in work. Toward the end of the day, the lawyer called. Mr. Cole, she signed it. Did she say anything? She cried the entire time, saying it was all her fault and begging for another chance. The lawyer said, I told her what you said, that if she continued to harass you, you would report the asset transfer. That quieted her down. Good. Thank you for your work. I hung up and was packing up to leave when Kevin came in again, looking nervous. Boss, Ryan Scott is here. My eyes went cold. Send him in. A moment later, Ryan walked in my office. His face was still bruised and swollen. He looked like a wreck. Mr. Cole, he said, keeping his head down. I'm here to resign. Resign? I laughed coldly. You think it's over just like that? He shuddered. Mr. Cole, I know I was wrong. Please be the bigger person. The bigger person? I stood up and loomed over him. You slept with my wife, and now you're asking me to be the bigger person? I'm so sorry. His voice trembled. I'll leave this city immediately. You'll never see me again. And you think I let you off that easily? He looked up at me, his eyes filled with fear. What? What are you going to do? I walked slowly toward him. You're a real piece of work, aren't you? Seducing my wife right under my nose. Mr. Cole, please. He dropped to his knees with a thud. I really know I was wrong. Wrong. I looked down at him. I heard everything you two said in that bed. What? You don't have the guts to admit it now. He was shaking uncontrollably. That was just talk. I never meant to. Get out, I said suddenly. What? I said get the hell out. I shouted. He scrambled to his feet and practically ran out of my office. Watching his pathetic retreat, I let out a cold laugh. You think this is over? You're a fool. That night, the empty house felt strange. Even though I knew everything had changed, a 5-year habit is hard to break. I opened the closet. Chloe's clothes were still hanging there. All the expensive clothes and bags. She hadn't taken a single one. Probably felt too guilty, like she didn't deserve them. I started stuffing everything into trash bags. As I was about to throw them out, I found a small, elegant jewelry box tucked in a corner. I opened it. Inside was the diamond necklace I gave her for her birthday last year. I remembered how happy she was that day, like a little kid. Thinking back on it now, her smile was so fake. I looked at the necklace, and an idea came to me. I took out my phone and dialed a number. Find Ryan Scott's home address for me. Right away, Mr. Cole. After hanging up, I placed the jewelry box on my desk. Since you two are so deeply in love, I might as well help you out. The next morning, I had his address, an old, rundown apartment complex on the east side. Looks like being a security guard doesn't pay much. No wonder he went after my wife. I called the property manager of that complex. I have Ryan Scott's updated resume here. Take a look. Of course, Mr. Cole, he replied. A few moments later, he gasped. My God, this background check. It says he has a history of infidelity, fraud, and even drug use. I know. I just found out myself, I said with a sigh. A guy like that. It's probably best to let him go. Absolutely. I'll take care of it right now. I hung up and smiled. Ryan, this is just the beginning. Sure enough, within 2 days, Ryan was fired. He tried to explain, but the fabricated, yet convincing. Evidence was too much for him to overcome. At the same time, his dark history started circulating through his community. No one knew where the rumors came from, but soon, everyone knew what a terrible person their former security guard was. Ryan became a social pariah. People would point and whisper whenever he walked by, calling him a scumbag. I knew he was looking for other jobs, but he was rejected everywhere he went. His history followed him like a ghost, making it impossible for him to stay anywhere for long. One day after work, I ran into him. He had lost a lot of weight and looked haggard, his eyes darting around nervously. "Ryan," I called out. He jumped. "And Mr. Cole, things not going so well lately," I asked with fake sympathy. He bit his lip. "This was you, wasn't it?" "Me?" I smiled. "You think I have time for something like that?" "It has to be you," he said, getting agitated. "Why are you doing this to me? Why do you think?" I sneered. "You sleep with my wife, and now you're asking me why." He fell silent. "But you're right. It was me," I said casually. "So how do you like it?" You're a monster." "A monster?" I laughed. "We're not even close to finished. I told you. I'll make you both remember this for the rest of your lives." I turned and walked away. I could hear him screaming behind me. "Ethan Cole, you'll burn in hell for this." I didn't look back. Your punishment has only just begun. That evening, I got a call from property management as soon as I got home. "Mr. Cole, Ms. Miller is here again. I told you she's not allowed in the community." "Yes, sir, we stopped her, but she's just crying at the main gate." I walked to the window and looked toward the entrance. Chloe was crouched by the gate, her shoulders shaking. She looked pathetic. "Let her," I said. "Just don't let her in." I hung up and drew the curtains. This little drama had played out countless times over the past 2 weeks. Every few days, I get a call from security telling me she was crying at the gate. I pulled up the security feed on my computer. Just like every other time, she cried for hours before finally leaving after dark. Then she was back again. This time, she had a megaphone and was standing at the gate, shouting at the top of her lungs. "Honey, please forgive me. I know I was wrong. Ethan Cole, please open the gate. Let me in. I'll get on my knees. Honey, why won't you answer my calls? Hit me, yell at me, just don't do this to me." Her voice carried through the entire community, drawing a crowd of onlookers. I received dozens of complaints from other residents about the disturbance. I had no choice but to call the police again. They came and took her away. But the next day, she was back. This went on for a week before she finally changed her strategy. One morning, I got a call from the front desk at work. "Mr. Cole, Ms. Miller is downstairs." "I'm not seeing her." "But, sir, she said if you don't come down, she's going to jump off the roof." I laughed coldly. "Let her." I hung up and went back to my work. A few minutes later, Kevin burst into my office in a panic. "Boss, this is bad. Ms. Miller is really going to jump. She's on the roof right now." I looked up at him. "Did you call the police?" "Why, yes." "Then that's that," I said, looking back down on my documents. But Kevin hesitated. "Get out." He left, and I walked to the window. A crowd had gathered below, all of them staring up at the roof. Chloe was standing on the ledge, the wind whipping her hair and clothes. I lit a cigarette and watched the show. Soon, the police and fire department arrived. They tried to talk her down, but she insisted on seeing me. I calmly finished my cigarette, watching her performance. I didn't go back to my desk until the police forcibly pulled her from the ledge. When I got home that evening, there was a box outside my door. Inside was the diamond necklace, the one I had given her. Underneath was a note. "Honey, this was the first real gift you ever gave me. I always kept it safe. I'm returning it to you now. I hope you can forgive me." I picked up the necklace and threw in the trash. I had my lawyer serve Chloe the final divorce decree. From that moment on, we were legally strangers. I thought it was finally over. Then, one day, I got a call from a hospital. "Is this Mr. Cole? Miss Chloe Miller is here with us. We're divorced." I cut him off. "But she's unconscious." "That's her problem," I said and hung up. Not long after, Chloe's best friend called me. "Ethan Cole, are you even human? Chloe's in this condition and you don't even care. What happened?" I asked calmly. "She took a whole bottle of sleeping pills. They're trying to save her right now. Aren't you worried at all?" "Oh," I said. "Well, I guess her boyfriend could take care of her." "You," she sputtered, speechless. "Do you have any idea how much she regrets this? She cries every single day. She says she can't live without you. And, and you should go see her. She's in such a pitiful state. No, I said, and hung up. A couple of days later, I ran into Ryan outside the hospital. He seemed to have been waiting for me. He rushed over as soon as he saw me. Ethan Cole, how can you be so heartless? I frowned at him. You still have a nerve to show your face to me. Chloe is in this state, and you won't even go see her, he said angrily. Don't you know how much she loves you? Loves me. I laughed. She loves me, so she betrayed me. We both know we were wrong, he said. Can't you just forgive us? Forgive you. I stared at him. Do you deserve it? He said nothing. Get lost, I said. If I see you again, I won't mind putting you in a hospital bed for a few days. He clenched his jaw and turned away. Watching him leave, I took out my phone and dialed a number. It's time. Ryan received a package. It was an elegant jewelry box. Inside was the diamond necklace. There was also a photo of Chloe in a sexy nightgown. On the back of the photo was written, "Miss me." Ryan stared at the necklace and the photo, his heart pounding. This was Chloe's most prized possession. He remembered her saying it was the first gift Ethan ever gave her. He picked up his phone and called a number. Chloe, did you send me something? A weak voice answered. What? I'm in the hospital. The necklace and a photo. What necklace? What photo? Chloe sounded agitated. I didn't send anything. There was a silence on the other end, then a cold laugh. Why are you playing dumb? You sent me a photo, and now you're denying it. I really don't know. Chloe, you're really something else, Ryan said coldly. Try to get back together this soon. Weren't you just saying you were dying of love for Ethan? No, I really don't know. Fine, stop pretending, Ryan said. If you want to get back together, just say so. Did you think I wouldn't want you? You bastard. Chloe screamed. I have no idea what's going on. All I want is for Ethan to forgive me. Ah, nice try, Ryan said scornfully. Then what's with the necklace and the photo? The one that says "Miss me" on the back. What? Chloe shrieked. That's impossible. I gave that necklace back to Ethan. Did you? Ryan sneered. So you're saying Ethan sent it to me? Chloe was stunned into silence. You're a real piece of work, Chloe, Ryan said. Trying to play both sides. No. Chloe was panicking now. I really don't know. Whatever. Don't bother explaining, Ryan said. Have fun with your games. He hung up and threw the necklace and photo in the trash. Meanwhile, in her hospital room, Chloe stared at her phone in a daze. What was happening? She had definitely given that necklace back to Ethan. Why did Ryan have it and that photo? She remembered it was taken last year when she and Ethan were celebrating their anniversary. Just then, a nurse came in to change her for. Chloe looked up and noticed the nurse was giving her a strange look. What is it? She asked. The nurse hesitated. Oh, it's nothing. Chloe picked up her phone and opened Facebook. She froze. Her timeline was filled with that same photo, with captions like, trying to get back together already. Mrs. Cole sure moves on fast. She frantically checked other social media apps and found that the photo had gone viral. Someone had even photoshopped more explicit versions and posted them with all sorts of disgusting comments. Chloe collapsed back on her hospital bed, shaking uncontrollably. She finally understood. This was all Ethan's plan. Watching the flood of hysterical calls and texts from Chloe light up my phone, a small smile touched my lips. The plan was working perfectly. I had someone send a necklace to Ryan, and I was the one who leaked the photo. I knew Chloe better than anyone. I knew her reputation was the most important thing to her. And now, online, she was a promiscuous tramp, and Ryan was just one of her playthings. Ethan, why are you doing this to me? Her text kept popping up. I know I was wrong. Why are you torturing me like this? I didn't reply. Instead, I opened another video file. In the video, Ryan was having dinner with another woman. A woman I had hired for the sole purpose of being seen by Chloe. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Chloe to explode. Her text to him read, Ryan, you bastard. How dare you cheat on me? Ryan's reply was just as furious. Cheat on you? Who the hell are you? You're the one sending me naked pictures. I watched them tear each other apart over text, a cold satisfaction spreading through me. Finally, they were both getting a taste of betrayal. I received an update that Chloe had stormed the restaurant where Ryan was on his date. She threw a plate of food at Ryan and the woman and slapped him across the face several times. In the end, the police had to drag her away. An entire scene was filmed and posted online. The internet ate it up. The comments poured in. Isn't that the woman who was posting nudes the other day? A cheater and a scumbag. They deserve each other. This kind of woman is disgusting. The second she's divorced, she's out hooking up with other men. I knew Chloe must be devastated. Her image was everything to her, and now she was a public laughingstock. As expected, a few days later, she was back in hospital. She'd slit her wrists this time, but they found her in time to save her. I was reading through their text messages when I got the news. I had their phones hacked and got a daily transcript of their conversations. Ryan, you bitch. How dare you make a scene on my date? Chloe, you're a real piece of work? Aren't you? Found a new girl already? Ryan, none of your damn business. You're the one posting nudes online to trap guys. Chloe, that was Ethan, you idiot. He's setting us up. Ryan, bullshit. You sent me that necklace, didn't you? Chloe, I told you, I didn't send it. Ethan is trying to destroy us. Ryan, stop playing the victim. You're just a slut. You weren't so innocent when you were seducing me, were you? Chloe, Ryan, you're a scumbag. I can't believe I was ever fooled by you. Ryan, fooled? Who fooled who? You were just looking for some fun on the side, weren't you? Stop acting so pure. Watching them rip each other to shreds brought me a grim sense of pleasure. This was the price of betrayal. My phone rang. It was Chloe's best friend. Ethan, you've gone too far. Did you know Chloe tried to kill herself again? Oh, I said flatly. Did she succeed? She gasped, speechless. Are you even human? Whether I'm human or not doesn't matter, I said. What matters is that they're getting what they deserve. You're insane, she screamed. Doesn't your conscience hurt at all? Getting revenge like this? Conscience? I laughed coldly. When they betrayed me, did they ever think about my feelings? I hung up and sent a text to Ryan. Heard things aren't going so well for you. He replied almost instantly. Ethan, this is all you're doing, isn't it? It is, I admit it freely. How does it feel? You're a psycho. A psycho. I sent a smiling emoji. You didn't seem to think I was a psycho when you were sleeping with my wife. He was silent for a long time before he replied. What do you want? I told you, I typed. I'm going to make you both remember this for the rest of your lives. And we're just getting started. 07 that evening, I got another call from a hospital. Mr. Cole, Miss Chloe Miller has been admitted again. I told you we're divorced, but her condition is very serious this time. The nurse said hesitantly. She cut her wrists, lost a lot of blood. She's still unconscious. I was about to hang up when the nurse added quickly. She wrote your name all over her room, and she keeps murmuring, I'm sorry. I was quiet for a moment. I wish her a speedy recovery. I hung up and lit a cigarette. Through the smoke, I thought back to that night. In that small gazebo, watching the woman I loved kissing and clinging to another man. In that moment, it felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. Now you know how it feels to be abandoned, don't you, Chloe? My phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. Ethan, Chloe is dying. Are you satisfied now? I laughed coldly. What? You feeling sentimental? Then why don't you go take care of her? Are you really this heartless? I thought you loved her. I did, I replied. But that was a long time ago. Aren't you afraid she'll actually die? What's it to me? It was a long time before he texted back. Ethan, it was my fault. I shouldn't have seduced her. Please, just leave her alone. I didn't reply. I got word that Ryan was at the hospital taking care of Chloe. The two former lovers, finally understanding what real pain felt like. But it wasn't enough. I called one of the nurses at the hospital. I need you to do something for me. What is it, Mr. Cole? When Chloe wakes up, I want you to let her know that Ryan has been getting very friendly with another nurse. Be subtle. Let her discover it on her own. Well, I don't know. Don't worry. You'll be well compensated. Chloe woke up. Ryan played the part of the dutiful boyfriend, taking care of her. But it didn't take long for Chloe to notice him getting close to a young, pretty nurse. The nurse was always smiling and talking to Ryan, her glances full of meaning. Sometimes, they would whisper together in the hallway. The fire in Chloe's eyes reignited. What are you doing? She demanded of Ryan one night. What do you mean? What am I doing? I saw you flirting with that nurse. Are you crazy? Ryan said, annoyed. She's a nurse. What's wrong with us talking? Talking? Chloe sneered. You think I can't see the way you look at each other? Will you give it a rest? Ryan exploded. Do you have any idea how much work I've missed to take care of you? And now I have to put up with your accusations. Missed work. Chloe scoffed. You got fired, remember. What work? The color drained from Ryan's face. What are you talking about? What do you think I'm talking about? Chloe laughed coldly. You're just looking for your next meal ticket, aren't you? That nurse looks like she comes from a good family. They probably have connections, right? Chloe. Ryan slammed his hand on the table. Don't push it. I'm pushing it. Chloe shot back. You think I don't know what kind of person you are. You only seduced me because you thought you could get something out of me. Huh, you're right. Ryan sneered. I was after what you could give me. And you? Weren't you just trying to play the innocent wife while screwing around behind your husband's back? Smack. The sound of a slap echoed in the room. Ryan, you are human garbage. Chloe screamed. I was blind to ever fall for you. Fall for me. Ryan clutched his face and laughed. Chloe, stop pretending to be so pure. You're the one who seduced me. You. What? Can't admit it. Ryan advanced on her. Should I remind you who started giving me looks in the community? Who kept finding excuses to talk to me? Get out. Chloe shrieked hysterically. Get out of my sight. Fine, I'm gone, Ryan said, grabbing his jacket. Good luck to you. Watching Ryan slam the door behind him, Chloe collapsed on her bed. Tears streamed down her face as she suddenly realized she had not only lost a husband who had loved her for 5 years, but she had also thrown away her reputation and her dignity. And the man she thought had truly loved her was just a parasite looking for a host. I stood around the corner in the hallway, watching it all unfold. The plan was working perfectly. They had started to despise each other. Now, for the final blow, I called Chloe's best friend. I need you to do me a favor. What else do you want? She asked, her voice full of hostility. Tell Chloe that Ryan and that nurse are together, and they're getting married. You're evil. Evil. I laughed coldly. Were they not evil when they betrayed me? There was a long silence on the other end. Do you really hate her that much? It's not hate, I said. I'm just giving her the punishment she deserves. Sure enough, a couple of days later, the news reached Chloe. She had a complete breakdown, calling Ryan and screaming at him. You're really going to marry that bitch? She shrieked into the phone. What's it to you? Ryan said impatiently. We're done. Done. Chloe laughed. You made me lose the love of my life, and now you're saying we're done. What do you mean I made you? Ryan was furious now, too. You're the one who seduced me, and now you're blaming me. You, Chloe, don't push your luck, Ryan said coldly. We were just having fun. Did you actually take it seriously? His words were a knife, plunging deep into Chloe's heart. She finally understood. She hadn't just lost her husband. She had been used and discarded by a lowlife. That night, she cut her wrists again. She was serious this time. They almost didn't save her. I received the news while looking at a photo in my hand. In the photo, Ryan had his arm around the nurse outside the city clerk's office. It was all a setup I had arranged, designed to push Chloe into absolute despair. Things were progressing even better than I had planned. Ryan had actually fallen for the nurse, and they were planning to get married. And Chloe had completely shattered. 1 month later, I stood at my floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the city. A lot had happened in the past month. Ryan and the nurse had their wedding. On the day of the ceremony, Chloe burst into the reception hall like a madwoman and threw a glass of red wine all over the bride's dress. Security had to drag her out. The whole fiasco was filmed and posted online. The internet had a field day, mocking her as a crazy ex-girlfriend. I knew her pride had been completely destroyed. Sure enough, a few days later, she disappeared from the hospital. No one knew where she went. Until this morning, when I received a text message, Chloe was dead. She had poisoned herself in a cheap motel room. In her suicide note, she wrote, I'm sorry, honey. I truly know I was wrong. I love you. I will always love you. But I can't bear to face you ever again. At the very end of the note, she added one more line. Ryan Scott, you will get what you deserve. Reading the message, I felt surprisingly little. It was as if a stranger had died. A few moments later, I received another message. Ryan Scott was dead. After hearing the news of Chloe's death, he got in his car and crashed into a guardrail on the freeway. He was killed instantly. They said the last text on his phone was to his new wife. I'm sorry. I am guilty. Sitting in my office, I lit a cigarette. Through the haze of smoke, 5 years of memories flashed before my eyes like a movie. Meeting, falling in love, getting married. All those warm, beautiful moments now seemed like a bitter joke. And then I smiled. This was the ending I wanted. I opened the window. The night wind blew in, cool and crisp. The distant city lights glittered, illuminating a city that never sleeps. In some corner of that city lay two cold bodies. This is the price of betrayal. Goodbye, Chloe. Goodbye to my love. The end.